landscaping, especially for our residential clients, it's not just about curb appeal, but it's designing a outdoor space and making memories. And I have worked together for over 40 years, and it's really been a blessing. And I'm like, what? Because first of all, I'm not a morning person. Okay, I'm not a morning person, and at the time, I was not a very good public speaker. But guess what? On Thursdays, I'm a morning person. One of our first customers was a spray service customer, and we did a landscape for their yard. And then they moved to a new house, and we did a landscape for them. And we did one of their son's houses, and then we did another son's house and a second house for that son. And then more recently, we did their granddaughter's house. So it's generational for us.
Right.
And it started, with the spray service, getting our, having that first customer. And we've done numerous customers that way. We do the entire family. And
Right.
so we do take great pride, because we know that these customers learn to trust us and know that we do good work. And so they refer to family, but they also refer to their friends. And so we really appreciate that.
Welcome to the Perfect 100, the podcast for BNI members who want to maximize their membership, deepen their impact, and grow their business through intentional networking. I'm your host, Tammy Zurak, a CliftonStrengths coach, longtime BNI leader, and one of the few members worldwide to maintain a perfect Power of One score. Each week, we'll explore the habits, mindsets, and everyday strategies of BNI members who are turning their membership into momentum. Hello and welcome back to the Perfect 100. Today's guest is someone who represents steadiness, legacy, and heart. I've known Jennifer for many years through BNI. When I served as president of the chapter that we were both in together, she was the mentor coordinator, faithfully guiding new members and making sure people felt supported from the start. Back when I was in full-time photography back then, and she was actually a portrait client of mine. So I've had the privilege of seeing her in multiple seasons of her life. And Jennifer and her husband, John, run Lahan landscape design together. I've been to their home for chapter picnics by the lake, under their pavilion, complete with a Civil War cannon nearby, which tells you a little bit of something about their love of history and tradition. She loves flowers, beautiful spaces, and most of all, her grandchildren. And if a new one is on the way, she's going to tell you she's having a baby herself. So today we're going to talk about marriage and business, leadership, and building something that lasts. Jennifer, welcome to the Perfect 100.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is my pleasure. Let's go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about who you are with your 45 seconds. Go ahead when you're ready.
We are a family landscape design build company. We have been serving the Metro Mid-South for over 40 years. We specialize in creative, thoughtful, custom landscape designs, whether it's planting plants, seasonal color, drainage solutions, or an outdoor feature to enhance the space. It's our job to do something for our customer that truly fits their unique needs. For us, landscaping, especially for our residential clients, it's not just about curb appeal, but it's designing a outdoor space and making memories. We have a client that told us that we created for him a private happy place. Wow, right? So that's what we do. We create happy places for our customers.
Awesome. Love that. All right. So before we talk landscaping, tell me a little bit about you growing up. What was your childhood like? What kind of environment that, brought you to who you are today?
Well, there you go. Okay, so I grew up in Vero Beach, Florida, a block and a half away from the beach. So I spent most of my childhood at the beach. We would leave at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'd take our lunch, and we'd be gone till 4 o'clock. And we were with a lifeguard most of the time, and he kept his eye on us. So we're very fortunate to grow up uh, so close to the ocean and the beach. And the ocean and the beach means so much to me even now. I just can't wait to get there. Anytime I can, I go. Then I went to the University of Florida, and I met my husband, John Lawhon, and we were in Latin class. And we happened to live at the same apartment complex. We kept seeing each other in different places, and we think it was meant to be. So we got married, and then we moved over to LSU, where John got his degree in landscape architecture. Then moved to Memphis, where he's actually from, and just started the landscape division of Rex Lahan Horticultural Spray Service, and we've been doing that since 1984.
Oh my, okay.
Right,
Well,
right.
there was a lot in there. That was a lifetime in 2 minutes or less. So, did your parents work, or what kind of what did while you're growing up, what did they do for work?
My father was retired, actually. He was in business, in property management. He owned a lot of different rental properties in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and moved to Florida to retire. And my mother was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
So he was retired most of my life. He was a little bit older than my mother, and so he was able to retire. But and I feel like I learned this strong work ethic from him because he always worked, whether it was volunteering or helping uh, any kind of organization. He was always busy, and I think that's what kept him living till he was almost 91 years
Oh,
old.
wow. Awesome.
So yeah,
Well, that's lovely that he got to retire and, have time to do those things. Did you have siblings also?
I do. I have a brother and a sister, and my brother still lives in Florida. My sister has followed us around uh, from Florida to Baton Rouge, and then she had a short stint in Texas, and then back to Baton Rouge, and she's been living here on our property for about 8 or 9 years. So
Okay.
yes,
Awesome.
family is everything here for us.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I know we're gonna hear more about your family, I'm sure. And it's a family business, so that's what we're gonna talk about. But when you're growing up, were you the responsible one, the peacemaker, the encourager? What kind of role did you play in the family?
All of the above. I am the oldest. So I was always responsible, and peacemaker, and making sure everybody did what they were supposed to do, tried to keep everyone going, and like I said, behaving, I guess, too. My sister and I are only 14 months apart. And so we're very close. She pretty much hung out with my friends when we were, in Florida together. Still now, I guess she does too. But anyway, but yes, definitely responsible. Definitely, I know one of my strengths is harmony. Definitely trying to keep the peace in our family, um, and and positive. With my parents and my siblings. So yes, yes, that's definitely me. My strengths are definitely me. So
Okay, awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna talk more about those strengths later, and we're gonna hear how they build up over time here. So, did you grow up imagining that you'd be working in a family business, or did that path just sort of unfold unexpectedly?
It absolutely unfolded unexpectedly. My degree from the University of Florida is in political science. I intended to go to law school. So I met John, and instead of going to law school, we went to LSU. So, where I worked in a bank, and then John's parents had the parent company, and they said, "Would you work for us?" And I said, "Sure." Uh, my husband's like, "Are you sure you want to work for my parents?" So
Yeah.
I said, "Yes, I would love to work for your parents." And so we worked together for Mrs. Lawhon, and I probably worked together for about 25 years before she retired.
Oh, wow.
And so we were in the same office, and we all got along very well together.
Well, I think, generally you hear all the, sort of stereotypes about mother-in-laws, so it doesn't sound like you had sort of that traditional, little adversarial type role.
Oh, absolutely not. I had the most wonderful mother in law in the world. I was very, very fortunate.
That's awesome, love that. And when you think about when you were growing up, was there an experience that shaped how you take commitments today, or did that kinda just evolve over time?
Well, as I mentioned before, my father had a very strong work ethic, and he passed that on to us. I worked in high school, after school. I worked in college. Um, I worked. I worked all the time. even one Christmas, I was working for a law firm at the time, just after school, like a gopher kind of thing. And my parents, being from Pennsylvania, they left. They went to Pennsylvania. They left me at home so I could continue to work for the law firm until they closed for Christmas. And then they flew me to Pennsylvania because they wanted me to do a good job and work hard. So I yes, I learned that commitment very early on.
Okay, awesome. And I think that you're fairly deeply involved with your kids and grandkids now. What feels familiar about watching them grow up and connects you back to how you were raised?
Well, our family, growing up, my parents were very involved with us and our activities. Um, we went to, we had in Florida, you can go anywhere in about an hour or two. Palm Beach is south, Orlando, Daytona. So we went away on the weekends a lot and explored those different cities. Um, and we spent a lot of time together, a lot of time in the summer. My father loved the beach, so he went to the beach with us. We went all the time, and he went just about every day to get that ocean water on him to keep that
Young?
fountain of youth, right?
Yes. Is
I know.
that how it works? Because I'm moving to the beach then.
I hope so. I try to get to the beach as much as I can, and I just let the water roll on me because I know it's the salt and the ocean and the breeze and all of that sort of thing. But
Yep.
yeah, we spent a lot of time together as a family, and for our family, we spent a lot of time together. Growing up, our kids were involved in soccer. Well, two of three were involved with soccer. That my other son, my oldest son, was did track and um, did a lot of different things in his high school. He did track and cross country and plays, and so we were very supportive of all the things he did, as well as our other kids. But as you know, with soccer, you're traveling all the time because they were on competitive teams, and
Okay.
so we spent a lot of time with them traveling. And now all three of my kids have left me.
Oh, no.
I know, I don't, the boys, I don't think the boys really intended to leave, but their significant others are in other cities.
Right.
So my daughter always intended to leave, but fortunately for us, she's not in California. She's only 3 hours away in Nashville. So, but yes, family for us is everything. My husband and I have worked together for over 40 years, and it's really been a blessing. One thing, we talk about, well, should I have gotten a different job, or this, that, and the other, but working together has given my husband and I time together. But more importantly, freedom to spend time with our kids. I could be the PTA mother. I could go to their programs, leave early for a soccer tournament or whatever. I had a lot of freedom,
Yeah.
being in a family business. So very, very fortunate. But yes, yeah, family is everything for us.
Well, and to work with your spouse for 40 years and still be married.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and when I tell people how long we have been married, I usually tell people that I got married when I was 12
Right.
because it just makes me feel so old to be married that long, right? My
Yes.
parents, if my parents were married that long, I mean, how can I be married this long? So,
Right.
but that's a blessing also. So, and a good thing, really.
Yeah. I get that having to tell people what reunion just passed from my high school. I won't say the number out loud, but it's very similar to the number we just said, and it makes me feel really old.
Yes, I feel you. I've got one coming up in April, and in certain it's probably longer than yours. So, but it's an opportunity to go back to my hometown of Vero Beach and see people I haven't seen for a long time. So I'm going to go.
Yeah, and they all look young because they grew up at the beach.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So I feel I look young for as old as I am, right?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, your business, Lahan Landscape Design, traces back to 1958 when Rex and Beth started it. How does it feel to be part of a business with that kind of history?
That's amazing. It's amazing. Beth and Rex were amazing teachers to myself, my husband, and at the time, John's brother worked with us as well. And we learned so much about how to treat customers, how to be organized, how to be very responsible and in satisfying our customers. So we're blessed. I mean, we were blessed to not only spend time with them in the business, but in spend time with them as a family because we lived a pasture away from them. So we were very, very fortunate. Our kids got to spend time with their grandparents. We did too, in a family atmosphere rather than just a business atmosphere. But to be in business since 1958, that's 67 years, going on 68. That's a very long time for a business, and
For sure.
that says a lot for stamina and our reputation as well.
For sure. Yeah, and you and John eventually took it over. You kind of stepped more into the operational side. Is that fair?
That's fair. Mhm.
Okay. And how did you decide what your role would be?
Well, originally, Mrs. Lawhon decided what my role would be, and that would be, um, you know, customer service basically, and data entry and all of that sort of thing. But the way John and I operate in our home life and business life is that I'm the boss. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, I tell him what to do. That makes me responsible, right? So I make sure that things keep going and we're on track and we're doing our landscape designs efficiently and in a timely manner. And I have taken that role on uh, for many, many years now here in our business as well as at our home, because someone has to, be the organizer and keep things going. So
Yes.
that's me.
Well, I feel like that's many, many, many people, right? As us ladies.
That's right. You are exactly right.
It sometimes just works out that way. I don't know why that is.
Right.
All right. And when you have a family business that spans all those generations, there's a sense of pride, I'm imagining. So, does that ever feel heavy that keeping an ongoing legacy or what does that feel like?
Well, it does. When Lahan started their spray service business in 1958, they were basically the pioneers for spraying. And spraying, when I say spraying, they were spraying for weeds in lawns and fertilizing and all of that. And there weren't a lot of companies doing that at the time. And they had many, many customers that they kept happy. And then we continued to keep them happy as well. So we do have a lot of pride. We have a lot of pride too because um, one of our first customers was a spray service customer, and we did a landscape for their yard. And then they moved to a new house, and we did a landscape for them at their new house. Oops, at their new house. And then we did one of their son's houses, and then we did another son's house and a second house for that son, and then more recently, we did their granddaughter's house. So it's generational for
Right.
us. And it started, with the spray service, getting having that first customer. And we've done numerous customers that way. We do the entire family. And
Right.
so we do take great pride because we know that these customers, uh, learn to trust us and know that we do good work. And so they refer to family, but they also refer to their friends. And so we really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's got to be. I recently found out. I was portrait photographer full time for 12 years, and I just recently found out that someone I had photographed had passed. And
Oh,
yeah, and it was a shock because that they weren't, wasn't a where they were just a normal lifespan thing. It was, I mean, they were definitely a little older, but not. It was just a shock to hear. And for me, having photograph them, that lasts forever, right? For family members, that always exists, and it's kind of takes the breath out of you a little bit when you can feel that. But I think there's that where you've built something that grows. I mean, you guys grow stuff that grows, but you also
right.
are building a business that grows, and has roots, to make all the parallels.
Sure.
I think that that's amazing that you can, sprout something in generations that continues on, and you can drive by someone's home and see, like, it's got to be cool. I know that when we moved into our house, it'll be 18 years in the spring, and to see we planted trees, that were babies and now they're full. I was marveling at the size of our magnolia tree in my front yard the other day and how gorgeous and beautiful and huge it is. And I look back at pictures and it's just this little tiny little, like a little stick with some leaves on it. And now it's this full grown thing. It's got to be pretty cool to be able to see the fruit of your work, long term too.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a baby. Like when you planted your tree, you nurtured it, you fed it, you watched it grow, you trimmed it, you did whatever until it grew into a big, beautiful tree. And we've done that all over the Mid South. And we do enjoy looking at some of our work all around town because we start with the plants and then we see them grow. And the way my husband designs is he designs the plants for what they're going to become. So in other words, if there's a plant that grows 3 feet or 4 feet, he spaces them so that eventually they will grow to the proper size and not be overgrown. So that's really important. And so we have been all over town looking at some of our work, and we do take great pride in seeing our work.
Well, and that's the thing that sets you all apart is that he has a degree in that, right? And he thinks about those things. And I think that we I didn't plant that magnolia, the builder did, but they also planted. I planted a whole bunch of crepe myrtles because we didn't. I come from the north where we don't have crepe myrtles, and I love trees that flower all summer long. But
Right.
the builder put bushes in that were supposed to be bushes, which are now trees. And they certainly, I don't think, thought because some of them are actually bushes and some of them are trees, and I don't think that was their intention.
Probably not. And see, that's the thing. There has to be maintenance. People have to trim and take care of their plants. And a lot of people, we try to tell our customers, trim this every year, trim it back, trim it, an inch or two or whatever. We give them details on how to take care of their newly planted landscape so that it doesn't become overgrown and it still looks nice. So
Join the Art Academy in Memphis. Master the skills needed to create stunning, realistic oil paintings. With expert instruction, you'll refine your craft. Enroll today at artacademyofmemphis.com. All right. So, working alongside your spouse has got to have some requirements emotionally that you would not have working with just a coworker. So, tell me a little bit about that. Is that a harder thing, or just because you guys kind of figured it out, it's okay?
I think we figured it out. I learned early on what to say and what not to say. I know that each person has triggers, and certain things you say triggers that person. And so I've learned not to do that um, in marriage as well as business together. Also, I know that timing, it's all about timing when you say things and how you say it. We have this thing in our family. It's called tone of voice. And I always tell my husband, uh, watch your tone of voice. And so, so he's worked on that over the years. I kind of failed, but still working on it after all these years. But, we have a certain dynamic and it works for us. But we did have to work on it in the beginning. But now we've been working together for so long. I know what he's thinking. I can finish his sentences and he can almost finish mine. So
He's still catching on over. He'll almost get there.
that's right.
That's hilarious. And what have you learned through running a business together that what have you learned about yourself?
I've learned a lot. I've learned, well, first of all, I learned how hard it is to run a business yourself. I mean, you have to spend lots and lots of time, um, well, not just together, John and I together, but on the business. I mean, you know, w- working working hard to make a successful business, working hard to satisfy our customers and please our customers. So I've learned a lot um, that I'm able to do it. I'm able to be optimistic and positive with our customers and friendly, and I'm able to uh, know that we are going to do what we say we're going to do. So, yes, I have learned a lot over the years.
Well, and when I first met your husband, he was the member in my chapter, and then you all swapped out. You did a little tag team, and I think you came for a while as a sub, and then next thing you know, you made the transition to being the member. How did that go? Tell us about that.
Well, when we first started in BNI, it was interesting how it came about because we had somebody come in to check our security system. And he said, "Are you?" We told him what we did. "Oh, are you in BNI? Are you familiar with BNI?" And we're like, "No, what's it all about?" So he told us, and we visited, and it happened that we knew a few people at the time. Our accountant, CPA firm was represented at the time, and so we knew them, and they were very encouraging. But John went, and after a year or two, he probably says 3 or 4, um, he said, "I'm really too busy. I cannot do this every week. I've got to run crews. I've got to meet with people. If you think this is important, then you need to do it." And I'm like, "What?" Because first of all, I'm not a morning person. Okay. I'm not a morning
Same,
person. And at the time, I was not a very good public speaker. But guess what? On Thursdays, I'm a morning person,
right?
and I'm a much better public speaker than I was. So I've learned a lot. And still, John will sub for me if I'm traveling or can't make it. So, people still see him. And our chapter has a lot of events, and I usually take him with us. So people get to see him, and they're always asking, "How's John? How's John? How's John?" So we're a team basically in BNI, and if we're just each other, I guess. If
Yes.
I'm not there, he's there, and so we can support each other in that respect.
Love that. And you served as mentor coordinator. I don't know what you're doing currently if you're still in that role, but I know you were that a lot. And what does nurturing plants in a greenhouse teach you about nurturing people in business?
So much, so much. Because when I was a mentor, I'm in membership committee now and
Okay.
and events. And as a mentor, I learned so much because I wanted the new members to be successful. And so we spent a lot of time talking about B&I dynamics and, all the things. And that's what we did with our business. We started small, and we did good work, and we built and built and built, and we continued to do good work. So, um, we not only have nurtured our plants because we do have greenhouses here with lots
Yes.
and lots of plants. So we nurture them, but we nurtured our business. We did whatever we felt we needed to do to be successful. We always feel we should do the right thing by our customers. And we have always striven to do that for our customers because we feel it's very important.
Yeah, and I know you and I, because I was president and you were mentor coordinator, we had a lot of conversations about how do we help people be more successful. And I know you were a big part of that. So,
I really tried to. I really, really enjoyed being the mentor because I really felt like I helped people be successful in BNI. Because as much as we went over in the beginning, when they did their orientation, we covered so much information, and but only because I wanted to tell them all the things that they really needed to be successful, the one-to-ones, all the things. And so we are doing it a little differently now, which I think is successful as well, because, you know, it's nothing wrong with trying new things.
sure.
If something works better than one thing, that is great. And so we're just trying to make sure that all of our new members are nurtured and ready to be a member of our chapter because there's a lot involved in being in BNI, a lot of responsibility and a lot of activity.
Yeah, I was just talking to my husband the other day about, and I don't remember why we got on the topic, but how, I'm a CliftonStrengths coach, so people have different strengths and people learn in different ways, right? So sometimes I'm the kind of person, give me all the information I want to know, everything up front, and I'm going to figure out, from there. Other people, that's an overwhelm for them, right? So not that adjustment over time. Sometimes it could just be individual people, right? As they just, I need one thing, the next person needs something else in order to pick it up and be successful. But that's why we have a team of people helping, right?
Exactly, exactly. And we have good leadership in our chapter. They are really trying to meet with the new members and get them on board. That is actually part of our passport to success, which I know you're familiar with, and anybody in
Yes,
BNI is familiar with. I'm thinking that they still do the passport success in corporate, but we
they do.
absolutely do. We absolutely do the passport to success. It kind of forces people to meet with people and learn more about the dynamics of BNI, and that's really important. When you meet with people, which in BNI is what we call one to ones, um, you learn about each other and you're not only learning about BNI, but you're learning about each other. And that's where you develop the relationships where you know, like, and trust these people and you can refer them. And in BNI, that's what it's all about is referrals.
For sure. So, landscaping is a hands on, seasonal, and dependent on crews. What systems or rhythms keep things steady?
Well, for us, we we like to design when the weather is like in January, February. We encourage our customers to contact us, even if they're thinking about doing a landscape in the spring. Uh, so that we can be designing their landscape and get it ready. And then that way, when they're ready, we're ready.
Right,
Because January, February is a much slower time for us. We don't mow or any of that sort of thing, or do leaves or any of that. So we're not having that instant, constant income. So
right.
we take that time to design and do work around our place, our farm, and our greenhouses so that we're ready for spring. We have different companies that we work with to do that does our labor, that does our planting and all our projects. And so we get with them and let them know what our projects are, and then we schedule and keep up with our customers in that respect.
I don't know why this thought just came to my head, but as I walk my dogs every day. My husband and I walk together with the dogs, and I look at the various houses. I look at everything because I'm trained to now, right? For BNI is I'm looking at roofs to see if shingles are missing. I'm looking at peeling paint. I'm looking at yards. I'm looking at all
Yeah,
the things because I'm looking for referrals for people.
sure.
And I noticed some people have a very minimal, sort of existence. Others, my yard was a blank slate when we moved in, and we bought it from a builder, and all they had was one tree, that one
Yeah,
magnolia tree, and a few bushes around the front, and that's the requirement. And we planted. I've lost count how many trees. I like trees, so and
sure.
flowers and all the things. But some of my neighbors have almost nothing, and I wonder what the difference is for value in people's homes when they have no landscaping or they have a great deal of landscaping, although it has to be maintained, to look nice. So, is there a have you looked, is that something that you guys look at and talk to people about?
We do. It's called curb appeal because when people drive up to your house, what do they see? They see a beautiful landscape. They think, wow, they take care of their yard. They must take care of their home. And, I know of people that actually have moved to houses because of their landscape, because it's been done for them. And it's just landscape. It's, not important to everybody, obviously, for the people that, don't have landscape that you've noticed in your neighborhood. But, sometimes people can't handle more than they can handle, and it's not important to them. For me personally, I love driving up to my house and seeing, um, well-maintained beds, and we always have flowers, some sort of flowers. When John does a design, he puts, pansies in this time of year or dianthus in this time of year. So we have color. Of course, and I can't say this very well, but they're yellow and they're forsythia, and
Ah,
they're blooming right now.
yes.
The tulip magnolias are blooming right now.
Yes, mine is
Uh,
blooming in my front yard. It's beautiful.
yeah. So, So when he designs, he puts different plants in that will bloom at different times. So the yards will have color, you know,
throughout.
mostly year round.
Yeah.
But yes, I think we feel a landscape really does a lot to raise the value of a home. And I have a son that's in real estate, and he agrees. A lot of times he'll say, "Okay, mom, what should I put there for this customer so that the house uh, might sell better?"
Right.
Because some people just don't have a vision,
Right.
and they can't see that this could be a beautiful home. I mean, it could be a beautiful house, but it could be a beautiful home with a fresh landscape. And we're fortunate to have many customers that feel and know the value of a good landscape.
What do you think customers underestimate about what goes into a good landscape design?
Well, I think they don't realize really what goes into a good landscape design. We do what we call mapping. We get out into the property and we measure. There's a way to do it online now, but we are old school and we still get out and measure so we know the exact measurements of the beds, where the existing plants are, and all of that. So we do that, and then we do a landscape, and it takes a lot of thought. When I say we specialize in thoughtful, creative, custom landscape designs, we do, because it takes a lot of thought. You are married to an artist, and I think you do some painting as well, or
I
you're a
do.
photographer. So
Yes.
you know the creative thought that has to go into the projects,
Yes.
right? And it's the same with designing a landscape. You have to come up with different um, textures and colors and sizes and all the things, and a lot of thought goes into that. Um, when we plant, we put in a lot of soil amendments and till it in so that if there's the soil is not that great, even if it is, we still put soil amendments into the beds so that the plants have a greater chance of living. Okay. And we fertilize everything. And then we mulch. And then we also put a pre emergent down to help keep the weeds down, which I say in the landscape world, there's two things that you need. You need an irrigation system to water those plants that you just invested in.
Right.
And then you need a pre-emergent on the beds to keep the weeds down so you're not spending all your life pulling weeds.
Right.
So there you go.
Nobody likes that. At least I
No,
don't anyway.
not at all.
All right, let's take a turn and let's talk about your power of one. So I'm going to read for those that cannot see the screen from left to right. Jennifer has a score of 75 in the green. She has 20 points for attendance in the green, 15 points for referrals in the yellow, 0 points in the gray for visitors, 20 points in the green for one-to-ones, and 20 points in the green for CEUs. And we have your Palms report up as well. You have no absences, few subs in there, which is not considered an absence. Referrals given inside 2, referrals given outside 18. Referrals received inside 1, referrals received outside 5, visitors 1, and I'm not sure what the time. I think we've got it started in August through end of January, so however many weeks that is. I didn't actually tell. Oh, it says 21, I think. And then let's see, one-to-ones 52. Thank you for closed business given $11,587 and 23 CEUs. So, what do you think about all of that?
Well, honestly, the thank you for closed business is a little more because I did not enter some that I
Ah,
should have
okay.
until after the deadline. It's very hard for me to get a visitor. I do not know why, but I did have a visitor in February, and I think I might be like you in February. I might have 100.
Ah,
I might have the perfect 100 like
yes,
Tammy Zurak. So
yes.
I'm striving to be like you, Tammy. Uh,
Perfect.
that's right. So I have a problem, not a problem, but I can't seem to get the visitors that I need to get because in BNI, they would like you to have at least one per month. And I'm not good at that, but I am very good at doing my CEUs. I walk, so I'm listening to CEUs. One-to-ones, I love doing one-to-ones, and the one-to-ones are so important, as we know. And then I'm there, and in attendance, and um, I'm a little low in that time frame, mainly because I have a daughter that got married in
Ah,
December, and
congratulations.
so, uh, I'm usually a little higher in than 75. I'm always in the green, but I did have to say, "Okay, I did not get that 4th referral this month," or, "I do not have time for this 3rd or 4th CEU because
Right.
I just had so many things to do." But
Yeah.
I really do strive to be in the green, and, one time, I was in the yellow, and I said, "Never again," and that was when I first started, and, I said, "I'll always be in the green. I may be in the lowest green, but I'm going to be in green."
Yes. Well, and it's an ongoing and you're not the first guest who said, I'm usually, a little higher, but 75 is, right smack dab in the middle of green. You're good, you're good. And things fluctuate because people have lives, and that's also okay.
Right?
You're doing your part, and that's what matters. And visitors are seemingly hard for most people. It used to be hard for me, and I kind of figured out the vibe is,
Mhm.
I just go places where people like to network that are not BNI, and,
Right?
it makes it easier, because 'cause they're
Sure.
willing to, they're all I gotta do is say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And on this day, and they show up, mostly.
Yeah,
It's weird.
yeah,
I finally cracked the code, so, I have an abundance of visitors, by especially compared to when was just a regular member before I was really doing this and making sure. I mean,
right.
we all wanna do well, but I've really it wasn't I've come through seasons. I've been in BNI for 12, almost 12 years now, and, it wasn't as easy as it used to be, so you're good.
Right.
Um, what habits do you do that protect that score to kinda keep you where you wanna be, kinda week after week?
I make sure that I get my one-to-ones. I really try to do them at the beginning of the month to make sure I at least get my 4. More recently, with events committee and different things, I've had, a lot more, but I always try to get my 4 in the beginning of the month. And I really try for my CEUs in the beginning of the month as well. I don't always, get that,
Yeah,
but I do try. And then that way I know that if I don't get any more, I'm still good.
right,
But I make sure that I have my one-to-ones and my CEUs. As soon as possible. Then I don't have to worry about it the rest of the month. But even though I still continue to have one-to-ones. Last night I listened to some of your podcasts. I have
Woo.
3 1-to-1 or 3
CEUs.
CEUs from last night. I haven't entered them yet, but I've got 3 CEUs just like that. And in the BNI world, all we need is 4 CEUs a month.
Right,
We have some in our chapter that might have, I don't know. They might have 20 in a month, but they have a lot of what they call windshield time, and they listen while they're traveling here or there. So anyway, but that's what I strive for. And when I was a mentor, that's what I've told people. Just get your one-to-ones, get your CEUs, and then think about the visitors and make sure you come, you
yes,
come to each meeting. And for me, I like the meetings. I enjoy the meetings. And so I really try to go if I can't. And like I said, I had a wedding, so I traveled a lot, and my
right.
husband filled in for me, but he and I are the same, so it didn't matter.
Right. Well, and you said something important there. You said, involved in so it's easier to do those things when you're involved. You were mentor coordinator, you are events, so when you're doing those things, you're naturally, being more ingratiated into the process that brings all of those things together, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in membership, you have a membership meeting, and we have those once a month. That is a CEU. You interview new members, or you have reviews for current members. Those are CEUs, or they are one-to-one. So it's a great thing. And honestly, for BNI, as far as BNI goes, if you are involved and you do the one-to-ones, then you will be successful in BNI. But
Yes.
you have to do the work.
Yes.
You
Fair.
have to do it.
Staying ahead in a world driven by technology is key. At Wisdom Integrators, we don't just solve problems, we create opportunities. Wisdom Integrators, connecting your world, solving your problems.
All right, let's transition over to your Clifton strengths. So we have your top five. Your number one is responsibility. You take psychological ownership of your commitments. You are dependable and embrace values such as honesty and loyalty. Your number two is developer. You recognize and cultivate the potential in others. You spot the signs of each small improvement and love when you see someone make progress. Your number three is harmony. You look for consensus. You have no use for unnecessary friction and guide others towards practical solutions. Your number four is positivity. You have contagious enthusiasm. You are naturally upbeat and can energize others. And your number five is belief. You have certain core values that are unchanging. These values provide direction and a strong sense of purpose. So you have three in the relationship building theme, and you have two in the executing theme, which I think we've heard a bunch of things about already so far, right? So, how did you feel about once you saw your results?
Quite honestly, I thought they were spot on. I am a very responsible person. As we talked before, I feel responsible even in BNI for showing up or working with new members or trying to help other members get to where they need to be. Like, we in BNI, we have a system, we have a metric where we have green, yellow, red, and gray. We don't like our members to be in the red and the gray. And so I try to do my one-to-ones and with them so that I can learn more about them. They can learn more about me, and maybe we can have a referral from that. We have a member in our chapter that says if you don't get a referral out of a one-to-one, then you've just had coffee. So we always try. I always try to encourage these people that are in the red and the gray to do better, and how can I help them? So I think that might be part of the developer as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Um, so and I do like to put people together. Like if I think this person has a lot in common with another person, then I will make sure that they meet so that they can talk, have their one to one, and get to know each other. So um, I'm all of the above. I am all of the ones. I have developed a lot of relationships, a lot of friendships in BNI, and I really appreciate that. And um, I wouldn't have known you. I wouldn't have known many people had I
Right.
not been in BNI. And so it's really been a good thing.
Yeah, and I know you reached out to me after you took it. You were concerned because you were sort of neutral on some of the questions. So, because you can, it's either you agree to disagree or sort of in the middle, and you were worried that that was not going to, give you the results. But it sounds like it played out still, right?
It's played out.
All
It
right,
CliftonStrengths got are spot on. They're spot on.
awesome. So, responsibility being number one, do you ever struggle with carrying too much?
Sometimes, sometimes I do feel overwhelmed. But then then I compartmentalize. I'm not saying that one,
Compartmentalize?
that one. And I'm able to deal with it. I'll have this right here or this right here, and I'll say, okay, I'll get this done. I'll get this done. And I like to make lists and write things down. I love to cross those things off my list, and that makes me feel a lot better, and that helps me not be as overwhelmed in whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, that's sounds like typical responsibility behavior. Checking a list or making it twice. I don't know, whatever that is. Making a list, checking it twice.
That's
Um,
right.
yes. And with the developer, you're cultivating, right? Which is kind of translates again to what you do actually in your work, what your business does. But what's more satisfying, growing a business or growing people?
People, really. I mean, I'm glad we're successful in business, but people, really. I love to see people. I love to encourage people and let them know that, yes, they can do this, that, or the other. And maybe they need a little push, but, um, and maybe they feel one way. And And I try to encourage them that this is the way to go. And if you do this, then this will happen. And I do love cultivating people, encouraging people, right? That's really the
Right.
better word, right?
Yes.
Encouraging
Yes.
people.
Well, I don't know, I'm a coach, so it is really about cultivating, someone's ability to, grow. You can't see what they don't know, so it's just like putting, you mentioned mulching and all the things that cause a plant to grow are the same things. You can't just plop it in the ground and hope it works.
Right.
It will sometimes take root, but a lot of times it won't. So, which is why I think small businesses often fail is they don't know all the extraneous. You've got to have good soil and you've got to have an irrigation system and you've got to, all the other things that you're not knowledgeable about
Right.
can sink you if you're not, paying attention. So yeah, we love our developers. Um, how about positivity? That can be sometimes being the positivity person can be a lot. So how do you protect your mindset to stay that way?
well, go out to the lake and cry. No. But, no, but I am a very positive person, and I try to see the positive in every person themselves, and you know, so I again try to encourage them, but I always try to be positive and hope that my positivity rubs off on them, and then they can see that they are able, and they have the ability to do whatever it is they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm a glass half full. So, I really try to motivate people. I try to uplift people. I know a lot of things about how people are, what they're capable of, and I really try to encourage them to do that. So I feel that's all part of positivity. So I'm definitely a positive person, and I like to be around positive people as well.
Yes. All right. So you are involved with your children and your grandchildren. How do you stay present across generations while running a business?
Oh, that's tough. Honestly, children, and let me rephrase that. Grandchildren come first. Okay. I will always leave if I'm needed or wanted. I will always leave the business, and go see my grandchildren. They are number one. Um, and I have the phone that can move over to my cell phone. So if the phone's ringing, I can always catch the call. But for the most part, our customers have our cell numbers, and so they call us anytime. So I can still keep up with them. But yes, my children. We have a joke in our family, and my daughter was at the top of the totem pole. And when my first grandchild was born, he moved to the top, and she moved to second. My second child, my second grandchild was born, and she moved third. So yeah, so grandchildren, and it's just a joke in our family that my daughter is the favorite.
Yes,
Okay, but now the grandchildren are the favorite,
that's
and
hilarious.
I think she understands that now. So that's good.
Well, I'll never forget when you said, "I'm having a baby," and then it was, I can't remember what lineup the grandchildren, that was, but, that stuck
Right.
with me obviously because 'cause that's been many years ago.
That's right. Well, I feel a very big part of their family, and I want to be a big part of the grandchildren's life, and I will do whatever they need me to do, whatever they ask me to do. When my first one was born, they said I could come once a month, and guess what? I did, because they don't live here. So
Right,
I traveled once a month to see him, and I don't go as much now because with weddings and this, that, and the other, we see each other a lot now.
right.
So anyway, yep, grandchildren number one.
Alright,
I say that the grandparents club is the best club ever. So, that's for me
right.
anyway.
Yes, of course.
That's
I
right.
know that works. All right, and, my husband and we don't work together, but, I'm in his business, I'm a student in his business, and we certainly talk about my business a lot together. What advice would you give couples who go into business together, does not necessarily like us, but just they wanna
Right.
go full in like you and John?
I think that you have to listen to each other, and I think you have to learn to respect each other as far as, maybe you don't agree what the other one's saying, but you have to respect what they say and think about it. And like I said, you may not agree, but let them have, let them say what they're going to say and listen and compromise. I think compromise is a really big deal. I mean, in not only in business but in marriage. And I think listening, I think respect, compromise are so important in a relationship. And you know, a marriage, a professional relationship, they're all so important. So I would say to always respect and think about the other person and listen to that other person, even if you don't agree. And many times I don't, but it's okay. They think they're right or whatever, and you just let things go. You cannot argue about every little thing, because otherwise you could be arguing all the time, and that's not a good healthy relationship.
Yes.
So let it go.
Not very fun either.
No, not at fun at all. And have fun in a relationship. That's important too.
Yes.
You've got to have fun. It can't be all about work. You just have to have fun and enjoy each other. I think that's also another reason for a long lasting relationship and marriage. Fun.
Awesome. All right. And when you think about the next generation, what do you hope they inherit beyond the business itself, if they're even going to inherit the business?
Um, we have 3 children, like I said, and no, none of them want our business. So, we talk about retirement, mainly because, of our grandchildren and spending more time with them. And hopefully one day we'll have more grandchildren. Like I said, my daughter just got married in December. And so hopefully we'll have more. But we also enjoy what we do. We enjoy the relationships that we cultivate with our customers, and so we are not quite ready to give that up. As far as generational, I mean, our kids are not going to be in the landscape business. They all have uh, well, they don't all have corporate jobs. But they all have good jobs that they're very successful at, and that's what they like. I mean, it's hard work owning your own business. It's hard work in a landscape business. I mean, because you have certain periods of time where you work harder than others, and they saw what we went through, and that was not their thing. So,
Right.
not really sure what will happen to our business. We do have a couple of people that we work with, and there's been interest in working with them until we actually do retire.
Right.
um but we've been making Memphis beautiful for over 40 years, and we're just not ready to stop.
Yeah, sounds good to me. All right, so let's go ahead and roll into our quick fire edition, I guess. All right, so these are just quick, fast answers, fun, whatever you want to make it. So, what flower matches your personality?
Oh, I think a zinnia for sure.
Yeah,
Bright and colorful. um and what's the word, very There, you
abundant.
throw the seed, plentiful. Is that
Yes,
what you said?
yeah,
Plentiful.
abundant. Same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Abundant. Yeah. Yeah. So, zinnia for sure. Now, I do love roses. I specifically love pink roses. But I do love the zinnias too. So colorful is colorful is my personality.
Okay, and I love that flower in particular for its ability to just continue growing. It's like even when you don't plant them, if you've planted them before, they just keep showing up.
They keep showing up. You are absolutely right. And that's me. I'll keep showing up.
And I didn't know, and this is obviously I'm extending the short quickfire round here, but I didn't know until a few years ago that you could pluck the petals, and that's where the seeds are. So once they
That's right.
die, you can just
Mhm.
pluck the petals, and that little, for people that don't know this, the little
That's right.
triangular thing at the bottom is actually the seed. So you just save
That's
those,
right.
and you've got a whole new round of zinnias. So you never have to buy
Absolutely
more.
right. That's right. Absolutely.
Love that. All right. What's one plant that you can't keep alive?
Oh boy. Well, I am having a hard time with a ficus, and that's an indoor plant. And I think that I love them in the summertime, and I actually keep them outside in the summertime, and they do fine outside. But you bring them in for the winter, and I'm losing leaves like crazy. So
Mm,
I'm having a hard time with my ficus. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can't keep alive. I have beautiful. Christmas cactuses that
Okay.
bloom at Christmas. We have bromeliads that we brought from my parents' house, actually, in Florida, that are still alive
Mm,
after 30 something years.
wow.
So I enjoy those, and I can't seem to kill those, and I don't want to kill those.
Right.
So yeah, so ficus is what comes to mind, but like I said, it's an indoor plant.
Right.
Um, the plants that we use in our landscapes are hardy for this area, so they don't usually die.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But I know
ficus tree.
you take care of it even if they do.
Oh, we absolutely do. We guarantee everything that we plant.
Yeah, and I can't keep an orchid alive to save my life. I've got a pretty green thumb, but man, those orchids are tough.
They're tough. They are tough.
And I think my Christmas cactus one of my Christmas cactuses is a little, feeling it must have been a little sleepy around the holiday because it's blooming today. I walked
Oh
by it and I was like,
goodness.
"What is happening?"
Uh-oh, it's fixed up, isn't it?
It is. It's like, "Hey, well, I mean, maybe we're gonna be an Easter cactus this year. I don't know."
Right.
All right, what's one B&I habit everyone should master?
um, Showing up on time and coming or going to the meetings every single week, staying for the entire meeting and doing the one-to-ones. I know that's more than one, but those are important. Showing up and doing the one-to-ones, that's so important,
Okay.
I feel.
All right. Spring rush or fall cleanup season, which do you prefer?
Spring rush.
If your business was a tree, what would it be? What kind?
Oh, let's see. We probably would be a magnolia or an oak tree, a live oak tree, because they are very stable and sturdy, and they grow and they grow and they live and they live. So that would be us.
All right. Love that. One thing grandkids teach us about leadership.
Oh boy. Well, with grandkids, you're supposed to say no every once in a while. However, that is not in my vocabulary with the grandchildren, but I do try to, you know, as far as leadership goes, I do
Mhm.
try to say, okay, well, here's your shorts, put them in the laundry basket, and I try to, you know, encourage them to do the chores because chores are important. I'm not sure what I'm teaching them about leadership, but fun is the name of the game, and behaving and doing what you're supposed to do. And um, like I said, I don't know what I'm teaching them about leadership, but hopefully I'm a good role model to them.
There you go.
So there you go.
All right. And what's one landscaping mistake homeowners make?
Digging a hole and just sticking a plant in there. That's not the way it needs to be done. You know, they also, so, and digging a hole, when you dig a hole, you dig it bigger than the plant, you put soil amendments in there. They make that mistake by just sticking it in because a lot of times the dirt is not um, hardy enough for the plant to grow.
Right. Especially around
Also,
here.
homeowners, yeah, they might get a plant that they love that's beautiful, but they put it in the sun and it's supposed to be in the shade. So they don't really pay attention to that kind of thing. Somebody told me he planted 4 hollies, and I said, "Well, where did you plant them?" And he said, "Well, I planted them in the dense shade." And I think it was hollies. It could have been something else. And I said, "Well, no, those belong in the sun." So people just they don't they don't know that.
Right.
And that's okay because that's what we're here for.
Yes. All right. Best referral you've ever received.
Wow. We received a complete landscape design for a backyard. It was a new patio, new sidewalks, new irrigation system. We did an arbor um, in the back as well. Um, all new plants. So what was so great about that is the homeowners really, really enjoyed their new outdoor space. They invited us for dinner. We became friends with them. So that was so good. But also, what they did is they referred us to some of their friends. And that's what it's all about,
Yes.
right? The referrals, it's what it's all about. So we were able to please them, and because of that, we got several more referrals. And so we really appreciate them. And like I said, they became our friends.
Yeah.
So that was our best referral.
No koi pond?
No koi pond. You know the story on that one. And we we did a for those that don't know, we did a landscape for someone in their backyard that had a koi pond, and they didn't want their koi pond, so we filled it in and put a new landscape over that koi pond. Now we did safely move the koi uh, fish to a new home. They were not damaged, or there were no death caused to
Yes.
those fish.
They went to a happier home.
They have a much happier home.
All right, and finish this sentence. Longevity in business requires.
Let's see. It requires a lot of hard work and a lot of uh, satisfying customers.
All right. And I have one last question. If your grandchildren were watching this episode one day, because you know these things live on, what would you hope they learn about how you built your life?
I would hope that they learn that they're Jin, because that's what they call me. Built my life with lots of love and gratitude and lots of fun.
Awesome. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. There's a heart behind all of the things that you guys do. And so hopefully you've been able to reach some new people and hear about the wonderful journey that your, 40 some years have made in this business and looking towards the future. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed this time with you, Tammy. I really do. We don't get to see each other that often, and but I'm glad we did get to spend this time together. So thank you so much for having me today.
My pleasure. And for our listeners, especially our fellow BNI members, remember to give yourself a CEU credit. And if you think that this conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it. Love for you even more to become a subscriber. Make comments, like the episode, all of those things make it so that YouTube, if you're watching it there or wherever you are, but ideally on YouTube, you're doing all those things because that will allow other BNI members to find us. So thank you, and we'll see you again next time on The Perfect 100. Thanks for listening to The Perfect 100. If today's episode sparked a new idea or inspired you to show up differently in your chapter, share it with your team and be sure to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you're curious about your own Clifton strengths and how to bring out the best in yourself or your chapter or your business, head to TammyZurak.com to learn more about building your superpowers into everything you do. Keep showing up, keep connecting, and keep building your perfect 100.